I'm gonna walk you through some of the gear I use on a daily basis for content creation. Outdoors, indoors, everywhere. This is some of my favorite gear, and I'm gonna give you some budget options as well. Okay, so first up is the cameras that I use. I use a Sony FX3 and a Sony FX30. The FX30 is this one, and the FX3 is the one that's staring me in the face right now. The FX3 is the best small camera I've ever used. It is full frame, practically bulletproof. I've dropped it about 6 times already. It handles weather really well. I've had this camera in several rainstorms, several snowstorms, and no problems whatsoever. The FX30 is the slightly cheaper version, and it is a Super 35 sensor. Your videos aren't quite as big coming out of it. You have a crop factor, it's called. It looks like it's kind of zoomed in a little bit. But for the price, this thing's awesome as a second camera. And here's what it looks like as a vlogging camera. And even though it's a Super 35 sensor, which is cropped in, it really still holds its own as a vlogging camera. It's really great. So I love to take this one with me on my trips as well. A lot of times if you see 2 angles, this is gonna be the second camera in that angle. You'll notice that the FX3 has this thing on the top of it. They both can have that handle attachment put on it, and that gives you the ability to run microphones right into it with XLR cables, which is very handy for a situation like this when you're in a studio environment and you wanna have a shotgun mic or an external lav mic or something like that. Another type of camera that I use pretty often is the Insta360, and this thing is really special because it has 2 lenses, one on either side of the body, and in a computer after you record footage, you can actually steer this thing around. So you can steer it around the room, you can look up, you can look down, getting inside of a tent or a small space. You can even dunk this underwater because it's completely waterproof, which is really fun. So as an action camera, this thing is probably the most versatile I've ever used. It's dead simple to use, literally just push a button and it starts recording. So love the Insta360, and it comes with its own little tripod, which is really handy. If you were on a budget and you wanted to get something that was super versatile and you were just gonna do a lot of vlogging, kind of like hiking shots and stuff like that, just get one of those. It's really awesome. This lens is a 24-70 G Master 2.8. It is expensive, I know that, but it's awesome. I do love it. It's very versatile for outdoor shooting. Another great lens, if you were just getting started, is the 28-105 f4. That thing is awesome. It is so good. It's got a little bit extended zoom range on it, and it looks truly beautiful. I love that lens. This lens on here is the 20mm 1.8 G Master, also an expensive lens. But man, is this thing sharp. It is tack sharp. The focus is really fast on it. It just looks so good. Like, right? Looks so good. Depends on what you point it at. I love this one for vlogging. I love it for big, wide scenery shots. Now for outdoor shooting, it's almost a necessity to have a good ND filter. Neutral density is what that stands for. And this is the Peter McKinnon's Signature Edition 2. This is a 2 to 5 stop ND filter. And I love it because it's rugged. It's got this awesome rubber cap on it, so this becomes your lens cap. You just throw this in your pocket. It is an amazing ND filter. It doesn't really color the image like most do, so although it is a little bit more money, it's a good investment if you're gonna be doing this for real outside. And the thing I really like about it is that it has these notches built into it, so it increments to each setting. You can't get like an in-between setting on it, which is really nice because on some filters, when you're in between settings, it can give you a funny look to the image. So this thing, although it's expensive, it is really nice, very worth it. If you're gonna be doing a lot of vlogging, you might want something like this, which is a small little tripod. Some people call these like Jobies because there's an actual brand name called Joby. This one is an Ulanzi MT33. And you know what? This thing is so good. I've had it for several years now, and it gives me no trouble. You can wrap it around a tree, like you can wrap it around a tree branch to hold your camera there. You can rig it up like this and set it on the ground, get some nice low shots. For camping, this is like a no-brainer. it's pretty inexpensive compared to the name brand ones and holds up really well. I'll put links to everything here below in the description, just so it's easy for you to check it out and look at it. Some of these links are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission if you buy something through that link, but it does not charge you extra. It just charges the company a little bit extra. So that's one way that you could support the channel, is by clicking on those links. It's a really big help. When it comes to audio, audio is so important. For audio in the studio, I use this, which is a Deity S-Mic 2. This thing is cheaper than the Sennheiser MKH 412 or whatever it is, the industry standard, but it sounds very similar. So for a fraction of the price, you can get this, and it sounds awesome. When I'm outdoors or when I'm vlogging, I like to use this microphone because it sounds so good. I'll switch to that right now so you can hear it. Isn't this an awesome microphone? It has a special switch on the back of it that allows you to narrow the pattern in, so it's only listening to things that are right in front of it. And it also has noise reduction. It's just a fantastic on-camera microphone. You don't have to turn it on. It just connects to the camera and it gets its power that way, so you can't forget to turn it on. The other on-camera microphone that I've used a lot and I like is this one. It's the Rode VideoMic Pro. I really do like this mic. It sounds nice. It's a little bit darker of a sound than the Sony mic, but the downside on this is that you have to remember to turn it on. And there's been so many times where I've recorded something and not had the mic on and had to re-record it. So I can suggest this, but I do like the Sony mic a lot more. So this one's a little bit more rugged maybe than the Sony mic, but I've had it out in the woods, I've had it in the rain, and it's done a fine job. If you're gonna be really far away from your camera, like if you're shooting huge landscape shots and you want to still talk to camera, you'll need a lav mic, a lavalier microphone. And this is an excellent, really inexpensive option. This is the Tascam DR10L, and this thing, these are phenomenal. I've had these for so many years now. They're about 200 bucks, I think. For a budget option, you can get those Bluetooth microphones off of Amazon, but just be wary of those because they do drop out sometimes and they don't sound quite as good. This is what I use when I need a lav mic out in the wild. Another really great lens that is really inexpensive for Sony cameras is the FE 1.8 50mm. This thing is really good. It's super lightweight. It's not nearly as optically superior as the G Masters, but you know what? It looks pretty good. Here, let's check it out. See? Pretty good, right? I really love this lens for talking head stuff. It looks fantastic. It's nice and sharp. So if you want to get something inexpensive to just get started, but have it look really nice, just get the 50. As far as lights go, I love, for my studio light, the Aperture 300X because it is bicolor. You can shift it from a very warm light to a very cool light. I've had this for several years now, and I use the Aperture little softbox, and it softens the light, makes it look nice. I also have a grid that I like to put on it to control the light a little bit. It's been wonderful. Now, you do not need a light that is that expensive at all. Another light that I love that I have up in the ceiling right now is an Aperture 60D. It's a much smaller light, but again, super powerful. It's a daylight light, so it is more on the cool side, but if you're just trying to get started, a couple $100, you get one of those. It's a beautiful light. Nice, clean color quality. If you get some of the cheaper lights off the internet, they don't have very good color rendition, and they can either be a little green or a little magenta. So if you stick with Aperture, you won't be disappointed. Speaking of Aperture, one of my favorite little lights that's ever been made is the Aperture MC. This little tiny light, which I have on a tripod, is so good. It's got a little softbox that comes with it, and you can snap it on and that just softens up the light. You can make this any color you want, and it hooks up to your phone. You can have effects that play on it, like fireworks, paparazzi, TV effect, anything like that. But this light could be all you need to record videos with. In fact, I'll turn off my key light right now. If you get this thing positioned in the right spot, it can be really nice, very clean light. I use these all the time when I'm camping. These are what I put in my shelters, in my tents. I put them behind my tent to kind of cut it out of the background when I'm doing photography or video. They're just phenomenal. They have a good battery life. They actually have wireless charging too. When I'm in my studio at home, you've seen the colored lights behind me and my set. Those are the Titan tubes. You can sync them up to an iPad through a radio. You can control thousands of these at a time. These are really meant for like Hollywood productions. Their color rendition is off the charts. They're so color accurate. They come with all kinds of effects and whatnot. So you don't need this to make videos. Like, you can get cheaper versions of these if that's what you're going for. They make these ones called Pavo tubes by Nanlite. Nanlite is a great alternative to these tubes. No reason you couldn't get one or two of those and have the exact same thing visually on screen. I just liked these because they're very controllable with the radio and with the apps, and their color is really, really nice. So I can use these as a key light if I want to, and I know that it's not going to do anything weird to my skin tones. Not that it matters. I mean, not that any of you are thinking, oh, his skin tones are off today. Doesn't matter. I do a lot of commercial videography on the side, and a lot of this equipment helps me achieve that goal. I'm just gonna say it, for YouTube, you don't need to have all that stuff. To get started, especially, just use your phone, get one of those little MC lights, and you're good. Coffee break. If you have a hard time talking straight to camera with a script, like I do, then you might want a teleprompter. So this is a really cheap teleprompter that I got off of Amazon. And it didn't come with this arm. You have to get like a little magic arm, it's called. But all it is just this little plastic plate and this thing that holds your phone. And you get this app called Teleprompter, and basically all you do is you just load your text into it and you push play and it starts scrolling, and you can adjust the speed, and your phone just sits there like this. You put this right on the front of your camera like that, and now you can't even tell that I'm reading something to you directly from the teleprompter, can you? Because you just can't see it. So that's how teleprompters work, in case you didn't know. What's so great about teleprompters is that you can make a really detailed script, something that's very hard to remember, and just read it right as you're looking right into the camera lens. So for very little money, you can get something like that. I also have a little umbrella that clips into the hot shoe of your camera. It clips in right up here. And I use that when it's raining or snowing a lot. And that keeps the rain off of the lens and off of the camera body a little bit more. I got that idea from Levi Allen. He's a really good outdoor creator, and he came up with this little umbrella system that inspired me to do the same. So that is a must-have when I am going out to like Oregon or something like that, where it's raining all the time, or in a rainforest. Always good to have a couple of light stands, or C-stands they're called, around. I have a couple of C-stands, a couple light stands. They just help with rigging things in place. The more you start to do this stuff, and if you're trying to make a studio at your home, you're gonna wanna have these little gadgets to hold things in place. Things like Cardellini clamps or Mayfers. They're funny names, but they hold and rig things in place. A C-stand with an arm is really nice for holding a boom mic like the one that's up here, recording my voice right now, or for holding the key light that's off to my right. Also, if you are doing a lot of stuff in the studio, you might want to have a light that's kind of edging you out from behind, kind of like illuminating your shoulders a little bit and separating you from the background. That kind of light, called a hair light or a rim light, is often held up to the ceiling by a clamp. By a clamp like this. Where is it? Yeah, like this. This is an awesome clamp. Some people call them quackers because they look like a duck. You know, you can clamp this onto a beam or a pipe. You can clamp this onto a pipe. You can even rig tubes like this onto stands by clamping them on like this and putting them right onto your C-stand. So you can like have this above your head or illuminating the background or the ceiling or something behind you. I also use this monopod a ton. This is made by Avella, and it's got these little legs on it, so you can either run it in like a monopod mode, like this, you know, set your camera down, something stable, or you can deploy these little legs and it just stands up on its own. I've left my multi-$1,000 cameras on this thing just standing with those 3 legs, and I'm perfectly happy to do so. Never dropped a camera on this yet. Although there's lots of expensive monopods out there, this particular one is very reasonable. This is the Avella CD324. I have used and abused this, and it's still just rocking. This is a toy that I like to use in the studio or outside, like doing time lapses or something like that. This is the iFootage Nano Shark. Baby shark, dude. Shark Slider Nano. Man, is this thing fun. You can program start and endpoints and how it rotates, so you can get really fancy, fun shots either as time lapses or just as beautiful product shots. You can set this thing up and it just goes. It's a little pricey, but it's a fantastic tool for what it does, so kind of a fun one to use. Now, real talk, if you are wanting to get into content creation in 2024 and you're like, okay, I've heard all these things, it's really great gear, it's super expensive, I can't afford it. This is what you should do. Write some scripts, come up with some ideas for your videos, record yourself on your phone. Or if you got a little bit more money, get an Insta360 and record yourself. If you want to take the next step up from there, add a lav mic to it. So you have a lav mic in your Insta360 or your lav mic in your phone. You can have great audio quality. You can edit it on a computer if you want to boost your production level a little bit more. If I was going to suggest to you to go out and buy a video camera as your very first vlogging outdoor video camera, I would say maybe not the FX3. It's a beautiful camera, but it is very expensive. The A7C II is phenomenal. It's a full frame camera. It's one of the smallest full frame cameras on the market, and it has incredible quality. About 90% the quality of an FX3. So if you put them side by side, you have a really hard time telling the difference. I absolutely love that camera. So get that and get the Sony 28-105. That'd be a really great way to start your content creation journey with a DSLR like that. If you have any questions about this stuff, hit me up in the comments below. I hope you found that useful, or at least entertaining. We'll see you later.